Stefan Swear here, your Lake Area listing agent. I wanted to invite you today to our open house in Vergas, Minnesota, 220 Bennett Road, Vergas, Minnesota. If you are a home buyer, stop in and chat with our local lenders who are going to talk to you about the programs in 2024 to get you into a home and get you pre-approved to purchase a home in 2024. If you don't have time to stop in, you can watch this entire video where we sit down with Steve from Bremer Bank, who tells us about the programs in 2024. If you are a homeowner and you want to stop by and check out this home, you can feel free to do that. And if you are looking to save yourself some money in 2024, stop by and chat with our insurance agents who will be there throughout the day. They will talk to you and see if they can't save you some money in 2024.
So working at Bremer Bank, what type of consumer loans do you work mostly with?
I do mostly everything. So mortgage related. So that would include your conventional stuff, which is like Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. That vernacular would be the secondary market outlet we use for that. For those, we do a lot of in-house products, construction, land loans. The first-time homebuyer program through Minnesota Housing Finance Agency I work with, and then the other government programs, which are veterans, VA, Veterans Affairs, and FHA and Rural Development. And then purchase, refinance, and then our portfolio of our in-house products is pretty wide and vast. We have a lot of specialty programs, like we have a doctor program and a farmer program, and there's more, but those are a couple of specific ones. So we have quite a few specialty products that we work with here. And then some of the down payment assistance stuff. We have a large swath of down payment assistance programs we work with and couple with those different loan programs.
Yeah, and I see that a lot of the down payment assistance will go into 2024.
Yep.
Perm does their own, where the county also does one. Have you worked with those separately?
Work with both, and then we have some grant funds available at Bremer too that we allocate on a continual basis. Those usually go on a quarterly basis that we couple. So the down payment assistance is coupled with different loan programs, right? So it's put in conjunction with those.
Yep.
And then Minnesota Housing has a pretty robust down payment assistance program too, which is helpful for a lot of people.
Okay, perfect. 2023, can you provide an example of a time when you helped a home buyer find the right home?
Yeah, it's not specifically so much one time, but a lot of first-time home buyers. I kind of get a similar response with a lot of them coming in, calling me, emailing me, saying, hey, I'm a first-time home buyer, I need to do a first-time home buyer loan. And part of that process with them is education, because there's so much out there, and a lot of times they're just like a deer in headlights, right? So part of that process is the education, getting them to know what's available and why we might not use this program. Maybe it doesn't fit them best, or there's some cons that we might not use that for their particular situations. Everyone's a little bit different. They tend to come in with that, like I said, that deer in headlights situation. Also, they tend to get a lot of feedback or advice from Uncle Bob, or someone who necessarily isn't in that line of work or industry that's saying, hey, you need to go to a first-time home buyer loan. Well, what is that? So we go over that and we explain to that what that is. I'll give them a very broad overview of, okay, here's what's available. Here's, for your situation, we're not going to use this because of X, Y, and Z. So at least they know what's available. We've addressed it and given them some situations where, this is why it's not best for you. And then we'll dial in to specific programs, whether that be a first-time homebuyer program or something else that might fit them better. So oftentimes, they come in, I'm a first-time homebuyer, I need that program. We'll go into it. Oftentimes, we're not doing a first-time homebuyer program. We're doing something else that's more beneficial to them. So it all depends on their certain scenario, their financials, down payment, all that stuff comes into it. But it's rewarding to me because we get to get them from that state of not knowing what to do, where they have a very general and have some good base knowledge on the mortgage process that's involved in buying a house, and they come out of that meeting hopefully a little more confident, and also knowing that, hey, I don't need to know all this stuff, that they have me in the kind of their back pocket or back corner, advising them and getting them the best situation they could be in.
Okay, so near the end of 2023, as a realtor, we've seen, at least around here, the market slow down. Buyers kind of get a little bit more selective on what they're looking for. Have you seen anything in the end of 2023 and any points that you want to bring up for the early parts of 2024?
Yeah. So I would agree. The purchase market has slowed down a fair amount at the end of this year. I think there's two reasons to that. One is obviously interest rates are up from the last several years.
Yeah.
And historically probably the last 15 years. But some people have some uncertainty with that. Okay, do I want to go from a 3% to a 6% mortgage, for example? Some people are on the fence about that and not willing to do that, which is understandable. The second part is I think we're kind of back into a more normal historical time of year here. And this time of year, November, December, is usually when people are getting ready for the holidays and the weather kind of turns and stuff. Like, it's historically a little bit slower when stuff starts to slow down. So that has something to do with it also. But I do think that the interest rate environment has a lot to do with that. The positive thing, the optimistic thing, is we have seen rates come down the last month or so. I was just reading this morning, we are at a 7-month low, I think, for interest rates right now. So we're seeing that start to trend down a little bit. And the positive things, it's some sustained trending downward, meaning it's more stable than it's been. And we're seeing that start to come down. So I'm optimistic that we're kind of over that hump of the super high interest rates. We're starting to come down that hill a little bit. Some of the Federal Reserve commentary has been positive as well, as far as some potential rate cuts into 2024. So, I'm thinking rate-wise, we should be in a better situation in 2024. I think that'll be a positive thing. We also, talk, quite a bit with borrowers and buyers, and what should I do now? Should I wait, or should I try to play the interest rate market and see what happens? And I'm kind of always of the same opinion. You can try to time it and try to beat the market. It's just like trying to play the stock market off.
Yeah.
Someone been doing that very rarely, unless you're really educated on it and spend all your time watching it, which no one can really do. So I'm always of the opinion that you can always refinance this loan down the road, this mortgage you might be using to buy this home. What you can't do is give back that equity. So if we go into a place where you're buying a $400,000 home, for example, right now at 6.5%, maybe you buy it in a year at $450 and your rate's 5.5%. Well, your payments are still the same, but you've kind of lost that $50,000 in equity. So I'm always of the opinion that stop trying to time the market and do what's comfortable for you now. If you're comfortable with the payment, the opportunity is always down the road to refinance that mortgage when rates do go down. I know you're the real estate expert, so you can, decide what market rates will do in 2024. No one knows for sure, but I guess if I put my money in, I would probably see them going maybe a little bit higher than lower. So
and I mean, all across like the United States, we've seen prices like continue to go up. But what we are seeing for the first time in about a year is buyers being able to walk in and get a home either at the asking price with maybe some closing costs, stuff like that, where that was gone a year ago. It was full price, no demanding, no nothing from the buyer. So it's starting to get back to a normal market for the buyer side. That's what we're seeing.
Yeah, so they have some opportunity now where if they're comfortable, because that's always the $1 million question, are you comfortable with the numbers? If you're comfortable with a little bit higher interest rate now, that you could take advantage of some of that availability for the buyer to buy a home now and get some of that stuff now, and then maybe they reap the benefit of the equity down the road. Hopefully.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have any suggestions for buyers entering the market in 2024? Do you have any suggestions for them that are worried about their credit score?
Yeah, I mean, the first and best step, in my opinion, is always get in front of and talk with a good, experienced local lender that you have some trust level with. And the reason for that is it's best to get your numbers up front, know what you're qualified for, so you can do your shopping from there. With regard to credit scores, again, always best to know up front so you don't kind of get ahead of yourself on looking at homes that maybe aren't realistic right now. So credit score is an important part of the mortgage financing. Programs have gotten away a little bit, or maybe evolved is a better word, from just a strict credit score requirement. Years ago, we also used to be able to say, okay, for example, if you got a 620 credit score and you're able to put 5 or 10% down, you're good to go. But a lot of these programs have kind of evolved from that, and they look at a more holistic approach to everything, which would be your credit score, credit history, kind of same thing, down payment, debt to income, loan to value, which would be your down payment, obviously. And then also, we can, if you have some additional reserves or money left after your cash to close on the purchase, that goes into it sometimes as well. So for someone to call me up and say, hey, I have a 620 credit score, can I get a mortgage? It's really much more complicated than that now. So we want to sit down with you, learn about you, learn your financial situation, also talk about your goals and stuff like that, and kind of customize a game plan for you. And if at that point, if there's some challenges or some obstacles we need to go over, we can get kind of a game plan for you, so we have a fairly good idea of timeline of when this might be doable for you. So if you're working with a good experienced lender, they should be able to advise that stuff to you up front. They should be upfront with you as far as saying, hey, this is not going to necessarily work right now, but here's what we can do to get you there, and here's my expected time frame to get you there. And maybe 6 months, maybe a year, maybe 3 months. It just depends on that specific scenario. I also do, in some instances, if I do believe credit score is going to be a barrier, but everything else, kind of fits the picture, or if we can get that credit score up, it may open some more program opportunities for you. We will sometimes run a credit simulator. So let's say we pay down a credit card by a couple thousand or what have you. We do sometimes run a credit simulator to get a good idea of what that would do to your credit score, and that may be an option, just depending on someone's personal situation. So,
do you think as a home buyer they should be checking their own credit online, or should they be coming to you first before going down that road?
They should be coming to us first, and the reason I say that is there's 150,000 different credit scores, consumer credit scores they can get. Credit Karma is the one that comes to mind.
Yeah,
those are consumer credit score disclosures, or they give you a consumer credit score. Those are different than what the credit bureaus give the banks.
Okay.
So for you to say I got a Credit Karma score of 750, you may come to the bank and we may pull it. We're going to pull all three of your credit bureaus, so that would be Experian, Equifax, and TransUnion. The middle score is what's used for all mortgages. We may say your middle credit score is 700. Because it's a different model they provide to lenders than what you get from the consumer agencies. So it's always best, get it from where it's going to come from in the end, so you know exactly what you're working with. It happens almost every single time. They say, well, I pulled it from here, and here's what it was, and what we get is quite a bit different sometimes. So.
Okay. Lastly, is there anything that you would like to share with us about your consumer loan experience in the market?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to mention is, in this industry, the mortgage industry, stuff is always changing. So there's a lot of changes with programs. Part of my job is to keep up to date with that and notify people of changes, or maybe scenarios where we couldn't have done this a year ago, but now we can. So kind of keep up to date on that. A lot of the changes come with perceived market risk. So I reference to the COVID days, which is kind of most likely behind us now. But a lot of the stuff they did with income. So there's a lot of additional restrictions put on income as far as increased documentation, stuff like that, which has fallen off now. But that's a good example of how kind of the market levels change what is required for different loan programs and all that. But in that sense, I think it's just really important to have we've touched on this, but have a good experienced lender that you trust, that can guide you with those changes, and keep up to date with them, because they do change quite often, and it's an ever changing world.
Anyone looking to buy a house, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
You can give me a call, shoot me an email. I work for Bremer Bank, obviously. I do have offices in Detroit Lakes and Perham. Give me either the numbers 218-846-0362 is my Detroit Lakes number, and then 218-346-1316 is my office number in Perham. I've got my cell phone on my voicemail if you want to ring that too, that's fine. But yeah, shoot me an email. We can maybe see if we can get that email up somewhere.
Yeah, I'll take it.
I just wanted to say thank you again, Steve, for this interview. And if you guys are around today from noon to 4, noon to 5, please stop by our open house, chit chat with us, see how we can help you get into a home in 2024.